So, hi guys. Uh, Accomplishing any goal needs you to follow a set of processes that will get you to that goal. And companies, be it in any sector, manufacturing, medicine, agriculture, they need to have a set of processes or practices that will get them to their eventual goal. नाउ अनदर फैसेट टू दिस साइकिल इज कि हम उस प्रोसेस को ही बेटर कर दें. मे बी वो प्रोसेस हमें 1 to 50 ले जा रहा था. अगर हमने उस प्रोसेस को और स्ट्रीमलाइन कर दिया और कुछ ट्वीक करके बेटर कर दिया तो वी कैन टेक दैट वन डायरेक्टली टू 75 और 100. And that companies need that to get more profitable, make more money, help more people. So process management is the line of work that helps people do this. And we talked to Mr. Sumit Ranjan this time. This was a very interesting podcast. If you're interested in maths, stats, mathematical models, you'll find this very interesting. Plus we talked to him about how he hasn't missed any opportunities that he wanted to take, or he doesn't have any regrets when it comes to life that I guess most people tend to have. So if at all you're interested in that, if you just want to find out how this line of work works, so please look into the podcast and give us any feedback if you have it. We look forward to listening from you.
So we just want to first understand what was your journey in brief. How did you get into this career path? What was your education like, and what basically brought you into this line of work?
Okay. Yeah. Slightly not so straightforward answer. So yeah, I did my education like so many numerous others. So I did my engineering from VIT Misra, right? So I graduated in 1995 as a mechanical engineer, and yeah, I landed up with the most coveted job in campus interviews that time. That was Tata Steel. So yeah, I went there and spent a good amount of 5 full years there. After that, the software bug caught up, and so I did a course in Triple ITB Bangalore, right? So that was a new institute then, only in its second year. And from there, I was taken by Daimler Chrysler for internship. And it so happened that I got stuck. So they offered, and I was with them for close to 6+ years. During this time, I had the opportunity to spend 3+ years in Germany, in Stuttgart, looking very closely at how the Mercedes development system works, what kind of innovations and improvisations and implementations happen there. All along, there was this undercurrent of, because of my experience in Tata Steel and my experience in Daimler, was exposed to quite a lot of these process frameworks, process implementations. So while in Tata Steel, I was associated with the TL standard, I was a certified ISO internal auditor. Even in Daimler, I was an internal auditor for some time. And then when the opportunity came, when there was a project going on to get ourselves certified, on that time it used to call software CMM, capability maturity model. So the company decided to go for it, and that has been my nature, that whatever opportunity comes, I usually take it. It has been never the thing that I have shied away from taking any opportunity or challenge, however new or fresh that subject or the domain be. So yeah, it was relatively new for me, but I jumped into it, and then again, seemed like I was doing somewhat good job. So yeah, so I was with them till I think sometime in 2008 when I came back, and then I moved to a company called Aptuit Informatics at that time. Now it is called Laurus Labs. So this company is in the field of clinical supply chain based software development, and they wanted somebody to head their quality function there. So yeah, was there for 2.5 years, and then I moved to my current company, which is Ekinops Networks. It used to be called One Access Networks then. So yeah, uh, this was purely and totally a role of process and quality management. I was I came into the company with a specific mandate that I need to bring in some certifications and have some process improvement journeys going on. And so yeah, we tried and we did achieve it before the deadlines, so to say. And then in the subsequent years, we were also quite successfully rolled it out to the other centers in the company. So my current company is a multinational company headquartered in France with development centers currently in Belgium, France, Brazil, and so many other countries. India is one of their R&D centers. So we were like rolling out this processes, this set of processes and QMS to the whole Ekinops world. And then, of course, there are challenges and things like that. So that has been the role since then. Quite interesting, quite engrossing, quite challenging. But yeah, professional life, if you ask, that's where I'm currently now.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting journey to hear. So, like you mentioned that you did a formal education in engineering and then shifted to different roles, took
Yeah.
up different took up different challenging projects and stuff. But
Mhm.
if somebody right out of college or right after their 10+2, they want to prepare to get into this kind of work, like what is the formal education that is required for that? Is it still engineering, or is it has the uh, has
Mm.
the thing changed over the years?
I think the things have really changed over the years. The entry barriers have come down by a lot. So nowadays there are a lot of certificate courses available. For example, you might have heard of things like Six Sigma or CMI or ISO and different standards in ISO and whatnot. So all this, I mean, they are just dime a dozen, and they keep on evolving. New and new standards are coming. New and new methods of operating is coming. Nowadays, we are talking about RPA and machine learning and whatnot. So somewhere it also impacts the process landscape. All all that is there. So just by a university education or an engineering education may not be much. What I believe from my experience is that you need to have a bit of experience into the actual working of the area where you are going to go as a quality or a process professional. By this, what I mean is, for example, if I'm going to go to a software company and I would like to be in the role of a process manager or a process executive, it will always be useful uh, to be in their shoes before or earlier, right? So had I been a developer or a tester, which I was, I mean, that actually helped me. And also, as part of Tata Steel, I was like doing all the jobs what a normal engineer or a normal officer does. And then when you are having the role on the other side, looking at from the quality or a process professional, then you have a better understanding. So if you say, is there a university course? There might be, because nowadays even courses are coming. Uh, Recently, I mean, 1 year back, I got my son admitted into engineering, and I was amazed to know what all branches are on offer now, right? So within computer science, you have data science and AI and ML and whatnot. I mean, data structure and I mean, all these things we just read as a paper, but now it's a full-fledged branch. So I'll really not be surprised if there's a specific branch on quality management or a specific stream of engineering, but I still feel a touch of experience, maybe a year or two, in the actual working of the domain would actually do a lot of good rather than just having some proper education or a formal education. Additionally, there are so many certificates. So all standards what I've talked to you about are or can be learned. Some certifications can be earned by doing some training and preparing for exams. So I feel we Indians are very good at at exams or at scoring. So give an exam and we'll somehow find a way to pass it, right? So
Yeah.
that actually helps. I mean, there are lots and lots of certification for ISO, Six Sigma, all these newer and newer standards. So yeah, all that will work. But yeah, my focus would still. I mean, if I need to hire somebody from my team, a fresher level person, I would still prefer that guy to have at least a couple of years of experience in actual working, and then take up the process management work.
Sir, and in that experience, does it mean, is it a process management role or is it actually the core domain? So, for example, software development would that mean a developer or a process manager in that field?
See, I mean, after spending so many years in this area, whatever standard or whatever designation you follow, the basic or, or at the very bottom level, the underlying message is that you're trying to bring in some change, right? This changes in the way of working, and that is always difficult, because nobody would like to embrace change willingly, unless and until there is some incentive, unless and until there is some push, unless and until there is some convincing required. And to bring out that that convincing, you need to first understand what the current process is, how they are doing it now.
Yeah.
And you cannot do that just because of you have read some books or done some courses. You need to be there for some time to actually know, to actually understand what are the pains on the other side. Have I answered your question, or have I
Yeah.
just
I think
okay?
no, that was clear.
So just a follow up on that, like we do see there are some other roles which are based on consulting, which create a strategy to bring about some upgradation or some change in large
Mhm.
scale firms. So how does process management fit in apart from consulting? Like, what is the core difference between these two domains that we can see?
No, there's not much difference. If I need to give an honest opinion, there's not much difference. The only difference I see is that process or quality management, as my role is more often than not is associated with a model-based process improvement, right? So
Right.
whether you're chasing a Six Sigma, green belt or black belt project, or you're doing an ISO 9001 or 14001 or 27001 standard based certification. So more often than not, it's model based. But when the certification has been achieved, right, then after that, the role is kind of more or less same on both sides, because as I said, the underlying message is you need to bring changes, you need to bring improvements, you need to make the process more and more productive, you need to eliminate all the waste producing steps from the process, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
And sir, what does Six Sigma mean? Like,
What do you think Six Sigma might mean?
I have some context on it.
No, you are a fresher graduate than me. Okay, so you need to tell this
Yeah.
question.
So
You need to tell me the
I did
answer.
electrical, but like what I remember it being was in manufacturing in Japan, they had
You're right.
built a more efficient process for speeding up and reducing all of those inefficiencies that existed. But I just have a very generic view of what it means.
Yeah.
So
So Six Sigma, by the name, says that out of a million, million attempts, you
uh,
will not have more than 6 failures, right? So that's what is Six Sigma. But
wow.
basically, that is the measure as such. But if you want the Six Sigma methodology or the Six Sigma way of doing improvements, basically it means that you are given a real life problem, be it
Hmm.
in a factory, be it in a software company, be it in any other company. So you are given a problem, you measure and you know analyze that problem statistically, right? And then statistically you find a solution, right? You use various statistical tool to find out a solution as to what all you can change to improve the output of this process. and then you translate that statistical solution into the real life. So that's the four quadrant cycle, as I say, which is at a very basic level what is Six Sigma. So you use various tools and you use fancy names, DMAC, DFSS, and DMA, DV, and so on and so forth. So all that is, but the basic thing is you use statistics to translate real life problem into a statistical problem. Then you find a statistical solution and then you translate them into a real life solution. That's what is Six Sigma all about. Yeah. See, you did a very quick crash course in Six Sigma as well. Huh?
Yeah. And does statistics mean successes and failures of it, or of the process, or like, for example, a
No,
code, whether it, okay.
no, it is a whole lot of different and diverging things. Not at all what you are trying to simplify it with. So for example, I mean, if you take about a software development company, they may be producing bugs,
Yeah.
right? So, and they may be producing a lot of bugs and they want to reduce this. So that's the problem statement they have, that you want to cut down the software defects by say 40%, 50%, or whatever, right? Now, when I'm applying Six Sigma methodology, what I'm trying is I'm collecting all this data, what kind of defects, what kind of bugs, when do they come, which team they are coming maximum from, and so on and so forth. And then I have a statistical measure and analysis of all that. Then using statistical tool, and there could be so many tools that can be used there, you find a solution as to, okay, this is, I mean, just from the top of my head, I'm just saying something. For example, you find that most of the bugs come for softwares which are delivered just after the vacation period, right?
Okay.
Or you have something where most of the bugs are coming from a specific team, right? So then you have measured, you have analyzed. Now you find out a solution statistically at what do you there. So you find, okay, maybe before, maybe we need to have better resource planning, better vacation planning. Maybe we need to have some people in the team should be interchanged, or whatever team structure you need to. So all that you find, and then you implement it, and then you see how the results come. So that's how. I mean, sorry for the long answer to the short question.
No.
That's how it is. I mean,
that was really helpful. I say this case study really brought in exactly what happens
yeah.
when
So
doing it.
that's what is Six Sigma. And Six Sigma is just one of the standards.
Yeah.
You have ISO 9000, which is kind of one of the most popular across the whole world, and it has also different flavors, right? So you have 14,000 standards, you have 27,000 standards, you have so many others, right? Some related to software even. So depending on the management push and the customer requirement, a company goes for that, right? For example, in US, if I say 10 years back, I mean, any software company worth its salt would follow the CMMI kind of process framework. But in Europe, they will still go by ISO framework, right? So, yeah.
Got it.
Sorry, I mean, you touched upon something which is quite close to my heart, so I just,
that was really informative for us. Is there a specific ideology why Europe would go for ISO and the other countries would choose a different framework? And how often are these frameworks being taken a look back again? And if there is something new that needs upgradation, that comes into picture. Like how fast evolving is this domain is what we want to understand here.
No, it does. It does evolve. It does evolve a lot, and at a good pace also, right? Your first question was, if I remember correctly, that why Europe has preference for ISO, or why US has not got a preference for ISO. Frankly, I may not have a clear-cut answer there, right? It is a lot more to do than pure academics. CMI also, because CMI is something which came out of US. ISO is something which is still headquartered in Paris, right? So But I'm just saying all this based on my limited understanding. And these questions are like uh, you have hajar answers,
Yeah.
literally. And, so that was the first part of your question. What was the other thing you asked? Sorry.
Like at what pace does this domain evolve, and are older frameworks also being updated regularly?
In fact, yes. In fact, many of the older standards, for example, ISO 9001 has got updated, I think 6, 7 years back. 2015 is the latest standard, whereas ISO 27001 was updated only last year, right? So, but more than not, now different domains are coming out with their own standards. For example, in automotive world, I mean, for all the big automotive players, they used to go by a process improvement, framework, which is called automotive spice, right? And then now they are also looking at even for their embedded software development and whatever software goes into a car or a vehicle, um, they have got a technical framework which is called AutoSAR, right? So automotive architecture or something like that. So there are many and many frameworks which are coming up based on the different domains. So people are like, if I'm in telecom domain, then I'll mostly go by this standard. If I'm in automotive, then that will be the lingua franca there, and likewise. But ISO 9000 is more or less one of the basic system which most of these standards have been built upon. Right. So
Yeah, the depth in the field is quite interesting. So every industry, every domain will have standards. Yeah.
yes, and it's not. I mean, more often than not, they'll just be an adaptation of the underlying ISO system or underlying CMM system or whatever. Right. These are just various ways. See, at the end of it, what each of this is trying to bring, they're all trying to bring some improvement. They're all trying to bring some structure. They all are trying to bring some use of data to take more meaningful decisions, right? So you name any standard, you name any framework, all they do is just it's now different ways to do this, and that is why they're different standards.
Got it. So I think that covers the industry outlook and what the job means. Then we wanted to understand also ki what is the day to day like, uh, like what exactly is involved in the day to day for young grads. This is very important for them to also know ki work life balance kaisa hota hai, how
That's
challenging
right.
and
That's
exciting
right.
is it every day.
So yeah, for a young graduate in this area, for example, if I get somebody in my team, what they are asked to do is they're asked to be associated with the core functions. Core functions means if it's a software company, then software development and testing. Try to understand first, and then first of all follow whatever is a defined process. So if there is a defined process for development and testing, so they need to follow, and they're just another pair of eyes to look at the whole implementation and how the whole development and testing is happening, right? Believe it or not, half of the occasions we find deviations, and with ample justified reasons, but justified as said by the person who's doing it, right? Whether the company still would go with that justification or not, it's something which is, so that's where a quality professional has to look at things in a very objective and independent manner, right? So he or she has to be independent in a way that not unnecessarily influenced by any manager or any team lead or whatever, as well as he or she has to be objective. So you ask, sorry, I digressed a bit. Your question was that what or how should be or how would be the life of a fresher who joins this field. So yeah, there will be challenges if the person is not a people's person. So basically, this job entails you need to talk to a lot of people. You need to be ready to face confrontation. You need to be ready to face intimidation. For example, when I send a fresh engineer to a very seasoned old timer project manager or a super project manager, he or she will face confrontation there. The guy will not treat him with so much respect, and I mean, he will just for him or her, this new quality person will be just like an extra pair of hands, which is not helping, but rather looking at his activities in a very critical manner, and nobody likes that, right? I mean, I usually make a statement. I mean, when I go and conduct audits, I say that the only wish an auditee, and auditee is the person who faces an audit, right? The the only wish an auditee has when an audit happens is to go out of that audit room. I mean, let the audit be over and let him go out. I mean, nobody wants him or her to be audited, to be checked, to be asked question why you are doing that and why not following what is standard and what not. So, uh, in that respect, if a person is not a people person, it would be a not so smooth place to be. But I'm not saying no to anything. I've seen very unexpected and strange results happening. So yeah, let's be open about all that. And so if a I mean, just I'm trying to bring myself back to your question. So what should a young fresher look for in this position? He should look for, if he has a knack for talking and convincing to people, this would be the place for him or her.
Got it.
I mean,
Got it. That's a very interesting outlook to this domain as well. So we would also like to understand better, like what would be the career progression as once I get into fresher, once I get into this industry as a fresher, and then how can I see myself say 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line?
no, so like any other function nowadays, each company would have a dedicated quality function with a dedicated hierarchy and going up the value chain and so on. So, for example, one can join as a software or a quality analyst role and then grow up to be a lead or grow up to be a manager, and then can either diverge into the consultant side where I also happened to don that hat for 3-4 years when I went to Germany. Or you can be a person who's leading the team and who's looking after the process improvements and how, on a sustainable basis, you can support all the projects with their quality and process requirements. Because, see, nowadays, top management also kind of ask this question to all the projects. So the project managers or they cannot circumvent all this. So the top management also understands that there is an underlying usefulness or benefit of having an independent and objective point of view of the whole work. Because if you ask a project manager, yeah, things are fine, the traffic light is all green, and only at the last moment when you start hearing or when you start getting the brickbats from the customer, then no, this happened that way and all that. So this is the usual story all around, and I'm not blaming anyone. They are doing their best. Nobody wants their project to fail, but it's also a reality that more than 50% of the projects worldwide fail, right? Now that's where another pair of eyes, which is independent, which is objective, and which looks at the whole thing from an improvement point of view, kind of helps, right? So sorry, your question was the progression, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you can go as high as being the CEO of the company, right? It all depends. I usually tell this to uh, all the freshers I get. There are two things in a company. usually, and with a lot more stress on the word usually. So usually, if you are in the core, or if you are associated with the core function of the company, for example, if it is a software development company and you are a software developer, you have a better growth, right?
Mm.
If
Okay.
it is, for example, when I was in Tata Steel, um, had I been a metallurgical engineer, I would have, been more assured of a better growth, or whatever. Uh, Mechanical was not bad either, but still.
Yeah.
So that's one. And the second thing is, and what is also very, very important, is ultimately your closeness to the customer is what determines your value in the company. And please mind my word, and I'll again reiterate,
Mm.
your value in the company is directly proportional to how close you are to the customer. Now, by saying how close, I don't mean you need to get pally pally. I mean, business wise or function wise, if you're directly talking to customer, you have a greater value in the company, rather than if somebody else is talking to a customer, then you are getting requirements, then requirements translated by somebody else, then from that somebody you get a, one other filtered down version. So if one really wants to, or have a knack of, I need to grow as fast as possible, try to be as close to the customer as possible.
Got it.
Sorry if I digressed, but
No, no, sir. I think very clear. Also, are there opportunities to build a consultancy business? At some point, you start consulting various companies, or do companies prefer to have this function in house?
no, there are, I mean, no company will have all competencies or at all
Yeah.
point of time,
Mm.
at all levels also. So many a times we also have hired consultants, and
Okay.
there are consulting companies. They are big consulting companies, and they are just you know just companies who will come do the documentation for you, or give you, would provide you with the necessary legwork, so to
Mm.
say. So yes, I think I said previously, after you have certain years of experience in this job, consulting is one of the options, right?
Got
But it has its own challenges, its own risks, its own thrill. Some of my friends have gone that way, and they are doing marvelously well. But yeah, many of us have stayed with the company, trying to take it forward. That also has its own plus and minuses, no?
Yeah.
Right, right. So also, like you shed light on how you have worked across different countries as well and different industries as well. So how do you come across opportunities which are say overseas, and how do you decide upon that you want to switch your industries in process management as well?
Your question is slightly outdated, okay?
Okay.
Because nowadays, even the people who are there are kind of looking for my colleagues, my batchmates, right? And I've got more than 24 years of experience. So my batchmates, my engineering batchmates, many of them, I do get feelers that is there an opportunity back home, and India is growing and so on. So yeah, that's why. But don't don't take it otherwise. That was not the. So yeah, if somebody wants to go abroad, um, one way would be that you be part of such company which has got, you know uh, offices or other branches there, because usually, unless and until I am a big consultant, and that too sitting, from India, you are just trying to, go abroad. uh, I think the best and easiest way is that you be part of that company which has got branches everywhere, and then you can travel with the company. Not, to be as an independent consultant and then travel, you need to have really, really, you need to have gray beards, right?
Makes sense.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
That was very apt, and like as you said, like people are trying to move back to India, which has various advantages, and as India is also growing. So how do you see this landscape changing uh, over the years now? So like was COVID a turning point, and what could be one more turning point which will completely change this game, so that people would obviously prefer to be in India then?
Yeah. So what was the question?
So I just wanted to know your view on the whole landscape, on how it has been evolving. That people earlier wanted to
I mean,
go abroad,
yeah.
now they want to come back to
For
India.
people who are in my kind of work, who are in the quality and process management, this is something which we deal kind of day in and day out. So if people are coming from outside, they are bringing a fresh perspective, a different perspective. But then that is also at the end of the day just a change, right? And if our business is to deal with change, to bring in change, to introduce change, to make people understand what is in it for them. Uh, this again is one of somewhere I heard this. We all travel in cars or buses, and we keep on listening to the various FM channel, Radio Mirchi and FM 95 and whatnot, right? But there is one FM channel which all of us hear all the time. And what is that? That FM channel is called WIIFM, which means what's in it for me, right? So since everybody is hearing on this channel, and if I'm able to tell people what is in it for them, that's where and that's the challenge in this job. Yeah. So if people are coming from outside, they're bringing fresh perspective, fine.
Yeah.
That's always welcome. Rather than seeing challenge, if we start looking at it as opportunities, that can really do wonders. No?
Yeah. And sir, one final question before we do a small rapid fire round. Like this is something that's been become very important, at least in our generations. Ki, what is work-life balance of the job? What are the stresses involved in the line of work? Is there time to do other things than work? Maybe get into hobbies, etc. So, what is the work-life balance? How stressful is the job? Uh, like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you very rightly said to have some hobbies and to have some other activities really help. But at the end of the day, the stress is how you. For me, it's basically keeping your professional and your personal life separate, right? So, um, I mean, I have seen so many families and friends that when they come back from office, they will still be discussing about office things, and the wife would be knowing all the things what is happening in their offices and who said what and what is the event next event and so on. Somehow I always felt that one needs to keep these two separate, and as long as these, so when I come, maybe I had a bad day of office, but then when I come out, I just switch off, frankly. At times it's not that straightforward, but yeah, with practice, if we are able to switch ourselves off, then whether you do a hobby or whether you do any other activity, that also helps. But one should be able to draw this line. The earlier one is able. For, for me also, it was not like that, because see, we Indians by nature are very emotional and sentimental, right? So
Yeah.
वो हर कुछ के लिए हम लोग दिल पे ले लेते हैं, और दिल पे लेके, और if somebody is my friend in my office, right, and if he has opposed me in a meeting on a particular proposal or particular suggestion, और मैं दिन में ले रहे यार वो कैसे बोल दिया, सामने तो ऐसे लगता है पीठ पीछे छुरी घोंपता है टाइप्स, ये सब दिमाग में आएगा. But I actually, first time when I realized this, I was in Germany, and there was this German guy who I was kind of training. So training to become a quality professional, and he was, he was such a good, or he is such a good friend. And in a meeting, a very critical meeting, in front of the whole board, and for one of these, I think, small points, but he kind of objected, and I was like, I mean, it took me few seconds to just fathom how of all people he can do this.
Okay.
But then just after the meeting, he was again behaving as if so. Slowly, I realized that, I mean, that's where one keeps the professional, and what he was objecting was actually right. So I could not say that, no, you have some other intentions and all that.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, when you're talking about stress and all, I mean, all these things get this heavy, that's all personal. I mean, you have a hobby or not, or whether you're sharing that hobby, or whether you like to showcase that, all that is. But you should be able to put a line between your professional and your personal life. I know it's very difficult at times, and for me, it's very easier to say than actually for people to achieve. But that's what I always try. Um,
Good.
that, that's
No,
what
but
I
it
think
helps to
has
keep
worked.
that in mind कि separate रखना है. So at least it starts pushing you in that direction
Yeah,
जहाँ पे you try
yeah,
to.
yeah.
So the last round is a rapid fire round. We'll ask 5 questions and just one line answers for each. Very small, short answers for each, and the questions will also be very short. So I think Kashyap, you can start.
पहले बोल,
हाँ
अगर लंबा लंबा आंसर दूंगा तो डिस्क्वालीफाई कर देगा ना, लंबा ही दूंगा. हाँ? Okay.
वो तो हाँ.
yeah. So the first question was, what is the best part about your job?
Yeah, basically talking to people, solving problems. Yeah.
One thing you would like to change about your job.
No, because we are into the business of change. If I would have a thing which I would like to change, that means I'm not doing my job well. I would have already taken steps to change that. So,
Okay, हाँ.
That's a very apt response, I would say. Yeah. This is a very generic question. Like, can AI take over your job in some years?
so there's a lot of talks about that. Yes, of course, AI has got a lot of potential. Sorry, again, more than one sentences, but I need
No,
to
sir. It's
say
fine.
that. So AI can impact some of the very basic level of things. For example, some compliance which I'm checking or people have to do, all that AI can help with. But where somebody has to be convinced and has to be, made aware that there is a change and they should accept the change and all, that's where AI is of, I mean, it can be at best be a tool, but it cannot be a replacement for the profiles we have.
And so, what is one missed opportunity that you wish you would have a second chance at, maybe over your career or some specific part of your job?
अरे मैं बॉम्बे जाना चाहता था हीरो बनने,
Okay.
तो चांस नहीं मिला. नहीं, sorry. नहीं, but usually I'm that kind of guy who always make sure that no opportunity is missed. So I can hardly remember anything, and there is to some extent quite old fashioned also. So there are a couple of things which I always remember whenever you feel or we have any of these feelings coming. One is that, believe it or not, whatever happens for good. Right? And the second is your ups and downs are all cyclic. Right? So in Sanskrit also it says, it says Chakravat Parivartate Sukhani Cha, Dukhani Cha, and all that. So your ups and downs in life, your professional life, your personal life are all very cyclic. So rather than ruining about a missed opportunity, I usually don't do that. I jump into all opportunities, not even knowing. Many times I've burnt my hands, but like I'm doing, for one sentence, I've given you so many. Yeah.
No. This is good, sir. वो one sentence बस एक ऐसे just to introduce the rapid fire था. You can go. So no problem there. हाँ, but this makes sense. ये तो ups and downs वाला, this too shall pass is, or at least what I try to keep in mind. But अब तक तो ऐसा कुछ ये नहीं हुआ है. Starting early, hopefully it doesn't happen. But yeah.
That's good. But believe me, all of us have this, I mean, that's invariably, I mean, I have not seen even a single person who never had failures in life and all that. It's all, even in books and fairy tales, they don't tell stories like that, no? So
Yeah.
if you have this thing that, okay, this will also pass, so then you'll have that. Many times that helps here. You ask me, I mean, many a times when you are in totally doldrums and you feel like, भैया अब क्या करूं types. So, in fact,
Probably.
Advitya knows in our family there is we always say this कि और कुछ भी हो जाए, main बात है कि घबराना नहीं.
Okay. Got it. ये वाला तो we will highlight. I mean, because this is something that like everyone should know.
Yeah. No, and many
Makes
times
sense.
it helps. It helps. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, please.
Last question is, I think, वो defunct हो गया because it got covered. We got to know about your film ambitions. Last question was Kashyap, you can ask.
Yeah, the last question was just a alternate career that you could have gone for, if not this.
No, I mean, to be very frank with you guys, I mean, all the career. In fact, this could have been the alternate career I could have, right? For example, I am a mechanical engineer. After graduation, I did job related to mechanical engineering only, and then I moved into software. Thought I'll do some software development and all, blah blah blah. But then I moved into quality. So this is all. I mean, I think till now it has been a quite fun ride, and I've taken all opportunities and all choices presented before me, and I would like to go like that way. I mean, why to just keep on hoping something will come my way? I'll just take things as they can. I mean, that's as they come. That's how इतना लंबा लाइफ में इतना छोटा काम किया मैंने. So yeah, that's all.
Makes sense, sir.
What I wanted to say on this.
I think that wraps it up. Thank you so much, sir. This was super insightful. If, of course, we will share the recording with you. If you find anybody that could be relevant, who could see this and benefit from it, especially undergrads, etc., please do share with them. Thank you so much.
No, thanks a lot. Really nice talking to you guys, and really sorry we could not do this earlier. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Aditya, and wish you all very best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Nice,
Thank you. Thanks a lot
have
for
a
your
nice
time.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.